Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Anything Blows. My name is Enrique, and today I'm proud to be joined by Lilyella. I always say like Lilyella, like it's a Spanish name, like paella, but okay. How are you doing? And nice to finally have you on the channel.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, just had a hard week's training, so just having a rest day today, which is nice.
Do you train 6 days a week, 5 days a week?
Five usually, and then yeah, I'll probably do something tomorrow, or I'll do something today. But I just thought I'd take a rest day today, so usually 6 days a week.
Perfect. So let's get into it. I usually ask, where did the desire come from to become a professional boxer? But before we get to that point, you were a swimmer. So where did the desire come from to become a swimmer?
Um, God, since I was like before I could even speak, I think I was swimming. And I just fell into it. I fell in love with it, as you do with every sport. Um, and yeah, it took me so many places, and um, I loved it. I just done it my whole life up until I was 18, and then obviously I started boxing.
And one thing I'll say there, a lot of people say to professional fighters, 18, 21, it's really late. And there's still fighters that make it to world level that started this late and they prove the odds wrong. Like, I think most recently we've seen an interview of Shakur Stevenson and Conor Benn, and he said he started at 17, and Shakur was like, I started at 4 or 6, and he said, you're cooked. But does it affect you starting late or whenever you start? Because everyone will say in their career, I wish I started earlier. I wish I did more amateur fights than this. But you think it came at the right time?
Yeah, for me, I never really even considered boxing as a career. I kind of fell into it similar to swimming. I'm a very competitive person. I just fell in love with boxing, and I liked fighting and things like that. So I do think experience is works wonders, right? And it is great if you've been in the sport for a long time, but professional boxing is slightly different. It's a different sport to amateur boxing, so you can be a phenomenal amateur boxer and then turn over to pro and not be as successful. So yeah, do I think it's good? Obviously, the longer you've been in the sport, the more experience you've got, yes. But if you work really hard at whatever age you start, anything really in life, then you'll succeed at it.
And let's talk about that. How many amateur fights did you have?
I had 8 amateur fights.
And did you win anything?
I won I won seven, lost one, bit of a controversial decision
Mm.
as usual. I won a Scottish title, so yeah, and then kind of COVID hit and it ruined a lot of things, but that's life, and I decided to turn pro. So
And 4-0 now. I'm going to ask it again. Where did the desire come from to become a professional boxer? Because obviously it wasn't something people say this. Did boxing choose you or did you choose boxing?
I think a bit of both.
Mm.
Um, I chose boxing initially just to keep fit, but I think the path that I've kind of gone down somehow, somewhere, it's like gave me a new lease of life because I gave up swimming, dedicating my whole life to it, kind of thinking my sporting career, like professional sporting career, was over, and maybe it's been somebody's talking to somebody in the bigger scheme of things that this was my fate to be a professional boxer, and it's now up to me to decide how far I want to go, really.
Um, so let's talk about that. You made your professional debut. Also, you managed to fight at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the new one, which is kind of cool. Yeah, how's it fighting at Spurs? Currently seeing how they're doing right now.
Yeah, it was a good experience, especially for a debut. It was very different to anything I've ever experienced before. Um, I was pretty nervous. Kind of deal with nerves okay anyway, but yeah, it was obviously a big night for me. Great experience. We warmed up in the NFL changing rooms and everything. So yeah, just something that I'll be able to remember forever, really.
And again, a lot of people say this and they compare it to obviously being on a promotional contract and being on a matchroom show or maybe even Misfits. And they say most fighters will never get the opportunity to sell out arenas, to be in the big stadiums. Would you say, obviously, ideally, if you could pick, maybe you choose something else, but as big as it gets, it doesn't really get bigger than that to have, okay, people say York Hall, the O2 Arena, Madison Square Garden, but a professional football stadium and one of the biggest in the country, if not the world.
Yeah, 100%. For me, I mean that's a dream, right? To be fighting in front of like 80,000 people type of thing. But I just love boxing, and I fought in at Trinity Park in my last fight. I fought at Norwich Showgrounds. They're not big places, but it's nice to be able to have all my friends and family there, and that's the most important thing. But yeah, obviously it's like the little kid in you dreams of things like that, boxing in front of thousands of people.
And obviously, looking on BoxRec, and people just look on BoxRec, look at the stats, but they don't delve into your professional career and they don't know the story. So within November to December, you had two back-to-back fights. I believe you also had a counted one in between there. But talk about the 4 year layoff and yeah, just for people that don't know, why?
I had quite a difficult time with management. Probably not delve into it too much because it was a long
Mm.
time ago, but um, yeah, I had two fights pulled out, so that kind of took like a year of it, and just kind of throughout that, I had a couple of niggles and injuries, and I fell away from boxing, got into a good career with work, enjoyed my life a little bit, went on some nice holidays, nothing too extreme, but yeah, I didn't. I just fell out of. I don't want to say fell out of love with it, but that desire to do it was hard because I couldn't get out of a professional contract. He wasn't giving me any fights, all of that sort of thing. So I had to restart all of that. But like I said, enjoying my life, and you kind of sit back, as a lot of many professional boxers do, and think, is it worth it? Going back into a sport, I put thousands and thousands into my career so far. So yeah, I did struggle coming back, but what now I'm back, I have fully invested in myself again, and I probably think I'm in the best place possible. In fact, I know I'm in the best place possible that I've ever been in my whole entire life. So, um, yeah, I'm just glad to be back. To be honest, it was a long 4 years, longer than I wanted it to be. Took a year of it just training. Um, so yeah, I'm glad to be back anyway.
The most recent one, so I remember prior to your last one, November 29th at York Hall, you dropped the girl, and I believe at the end of the second, if not, you can correct me. And yeah, you got a points victory. Was it 4 rounds or six?
4 rounds. Yeah.
And yeah, how was it? Everyone says this, and they say it in the UFC and MMA, and they say it in boxing. Ring rust. There you go. Yeah, did you feel any ring rust?
I, I did and I didn't. I was probably the most nervous I've been, just because not so much for the fighting,
Mm.
but it was just getting back into the ring. I wouldn't say I felt ring rust. I think it's the best I ever boxed out of those three fights.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wouldn't really say ring rust. I probably felt it somewhere, but not really.
And before we go into Trinity Park, last year, June, July-ish, in the summer, Fabio Wardley sold out Portman Road. You were there. And how was that experience? And that just gave that, it's one of those stories, like, I don't want to call it a Creed or a Rocky story, but I call it you envision it moment where you're seeing it and one day that's going to be you in there. How did it feel to get a kind of glimpse of the big arena and hopefully one day, obviously, Ibrox or Trinity Park or even Wembley Stadium, that'll be you?
We hope so. Can you imagine Ibrox?
Yeah, I'd love that.
As much as we're talking about Portman Road, I'd love Carrow Road. I think a lot of people in my life know that. There's a few boxers from around the area. That would be amazing. If we ever got ourselves into the position to be able to do that, that would be great. I mean, what more can you possibly want to be able to
Mm.
box in a huge place? And yeah, that was a great night. He boxed scarily until it was all over really. Just in a second, I'm not even sure I could even remember seeing the punch. It was that quick, and it was just perfect. It was exactly what he says. You need to be perfect for 12 rounds, and I need to be perfect for 2 seconds. It sums him up really, doesn't it? It was a great night.
And obviously, we could have a podcast about football for hours and hours, and that blew my mind. I don't know why I said Portman Road instead of Carrow Road, but obviously, yeah, I did remember in the back of my mind you're a Norwich fan, but I just remember that moment. Yeah, so maybe we could do a few. You could do Carrow Road, Ibrox, Wembley, International.
That would be amazing. All of them would just be great.
And so before we go back onto the boxing, massive Rangers fan, massive Norwich fan. Talk about the both of them currently.
Well, Norwich are doing amazing. They haven't been doing amazing, but I mean, relegation was looking on the cards very early on in last year to the beginning of this year, and since they've got the new manager, they've just been playing great football, and it's been really nice to see, to be honest. And they'd actually be top of the league if it started in January. But it is what it is. I'm just happy for them to be playing well and enjoying some good football. Rangers, Rangers are Rangers, right? Um, Unlucky against Celtic last weekend, I think it was in the Scottish Cup. Got beat on penalties. They're not great at penalties, but Scottish football's a funny one. It's not. I don't want to insult anybody. It's not great quality, but the fans and everything is what makes it. It's a great atmosphere, and your Hearts are winning the league at the minute, aren't they? So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that it's not Celtic for once, anyway.
For the first time in 4 years. And everyone asks this question. They always go to obviously Celtic and Rangers, but they've always mentioned this as recently. What if Paris or like a European team came to the Premier League? If Celtic and Rangers, like Swansea and Wrexham and the other lot, I believe it's Newport as well. If Celtic and Rangers came to the Premier League, could they get top four? Would they survive in the Premier League? It's just completely different to compare. But what's your opinion on that?
I think they're similar to Norwich, which is not a good way to put it, but they
No.
are a good championship team, kind of struggling Premier League team. I think they would bounce up and down. But I also think if they went into the Premier League or the Championship, they would get more money, more funds. Maybe things would change long term. So I guess that would be a long term thing. But if they just moved in straight away, yeah, probably bottom Premier League. But you just never know. Football's football, right? That's the problem with it. Look at Tottenham.
Yeah, you see that right now. And what would you say is your best moment with both clubs? Because with Rangers, they got a soft spot for me because James Arthur's my favourite singer. I started supporting them from then. The 2022 final comes most recent to heart. But what's your best memory of Rangers?
The Rangers. Gosh, just beating Celtic.
Yeah.
I know it's such a I haven't got that many great memories. I've never really been to like too many big games or anything with them. Um, but just old firm days are amazing. Even if I'm not there, like I used to go down a bowling club and we would just have a right laugh. Everyone would drink and have a good time and making memories. Really, I think Scottish football is very different to English football in the way that the fans are probably a lot more crazy.
And with Norwich as well?
Norwich for me is probably a little bit. It's nothing that big either. I like moments and memories. But I went to Wembley. I think it was 2018, maybe later actually. No, earlier. Maybe 2016. They went to Wembley against Southampton in the playoffs, and they won 2-1. It was just a great day out and a great game. They played really well. So
I'm back onto the boxing now. So I'll go on to your last one, which I kind of delved a little off topic, but we were talking about the right things. So Trinity Park, again, within November to February, about 3, 4 months turnover. How do you feel having a quick camp again and obviously your second one since returning?
yeah, I took a week off. I kind of enjoyed Christmas a little bit too, not too much, but I'm still fully training. Went back into camp straight away after Christmas and had a good camp. Um, couldn't get an opponent though. That was probably the most difficult thing, which I've had before. Uh, it was just frustrating, if anything. I had to fight. If I'm going to fight at super lightweight, I was fighting at super welter. I weighed in a lot lighter. I just couldn't put the weight on, to be honest. And yeah, it was difficult being there with somebody a lot heavier. It's crazy that I to think I used to fight at that weight because I used to be strong at that weight, and now I felt like since I've dropped down, I don't know whether it was just because I was lighter. I was like, wow, I'm not as strong as them super welterweight girls, but I've definitely suited to lightweight, super lightweight. I'm a massive lightweight, super lightweight. Not to be controversial for what I just put on my story, but I really am actually a massive lightweight, super
Yeah.
lightweight. Yeah, it was a great fight. She's so awkward. She switch hitting, done a full round southpaw, very awkward, long reach, everything that you really don't want. But yeah, I came through it, boxed really well. Probably my toughest fight. I liked it. Yeah, it was good. Just tough because of the weight difference.
And yeah, we love a challenge, and obviously it's a bit of a difference comparison from Terence Crawford to Canelo, but you'd say the same thing, going up weight classes and still proving a point. Do you think that's dangerous in not only just female boxing, but male boxing as well? In boxing in general, is it dangerous putting on too much weight and then having to come back down similar to like Conor Ben, or did you not do it like in essence that it didn't really in fact impact your whole career? It's only one fight instead of kind of fighting at two fights at middleweight. You think that it was a good decision to go up, or do you think like you didn't want to do that fight regardless of the weight?
I I kind of didn't really have a choice. I can't say I wanted to fight at super welterweight. I just want to fight, and I'll fight anybody. And
Mm.
given the only opportunity to be able to fight, I just took it. I don't think it's dangerous. I think if you can control it well enough, and you've got like I've got a nutritionist on board. Well, I actually couldn't put on the weight, and because I only really found out the week of, so I was sitting around 65, 66, and had to make 69.9.
Mm.
My body was just having none of it, and we were like, what's the point in pushing it to try and make
Yeah.
that weight? We knew the fight was going to get made. It wasn't going to be horrifically big weight difference, but yeah, I didn't really put that much weight on, to be honest, and to go back down to super lightweight, it's not been difficult.
And obviously, not to discredit them because I see them as obviously it's great boxing and it's what builds future champions. But in boxing, and people in journalism call it small hall boxing compared to the bigger stages. Do you find the difference in weighing in on the day compared to before? Because I don't think you've ever weighed in the day before, have you?
At Tottenham, I weighed in the day before, and so did I for my second fight. So I've always weighed in the day before, like prior to coming back into my career. It
Hmm.
was yeah, it's been different weighing in same day, but I've been on weight every time. So um it's not really been a problem. But obviously, hopefully the fight in 6 weeks will be day before. Just give me an extra 24 hours to refuel, but I'm nearly on weight already. So
You talk about that there. God willing, it is a title fight. Do you know if it is a title fight or not yet?
we are waiting to get it sanctioned by the board. I am doing everything and anything I possibly can to make it a title fight, even financially. Um, I'm 95% certain it's going to be a title fight. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be really that keen on taking the fight if it wasn't. I feel like if it gets too close to the date, I'll probably take the fight. It's kind of a weird way to talk about it, but
Mm.
we both kind of agreed that if it's not a title fight, there's it shouldn't really be getting made. It definitely deserves a title. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty certain it will be. I've not really got any worries about it not being.
At the maximum, I'm gonna call her by her first name, Zoe, but to us, she's known as Voldemort. But yeah, let's talk about your next opponent.
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, there's been a bit of back and forth on social media, started by me just calling her out because I offered her the fight two times
Oh,
February the
yeah.
21st. I asked her to fight me at Trinity Park. She said no. And then I asked her to fight me March the 21st for the English. And I don't know whether it got sanctioned or what happened, but she said no. So that never happened. And then I was like, after my fight, I had the interview with Ollie, and I obviously just kind of put it out there. I thought, let's see, because I brought in MVP and Gemma Richardson because that's the route I do kind of want to go down. But I thought one more chance. Here we
Yeah.
go, third time lucky. And yeah, she said she'd never heard anything about it or anything. I mean, if that's maybe she didn't, maybe somebody kept it from her. But as far as I was aware, and I made that very clear in the interview as well, that maybe she didn't get told, but as far as I'm aware, she didn't want it. So that's all I was saying, really. Um, yeah, I think she's not a bad fighter. I think it's just a good step up fight for me. Like she says, I'm a nobody, and I've fought nobodies, and that's yeah on paper correct probably, but I am aiming to become a somebody, and I have to start somewhere and build my career, which is exactly what I'm doing, right? and she is a stepping stone in the way to get to where I want to get to, really.
What inspires you to keep that professionalism and to be the same person you are on camera, off camera?
Um, I think life, right? Life teaches you a lot of lessons, and we can all stand here and say, she said this and she done that, but um, I've been through a lot in my life. I'm sure she's been through a lot in her life, and ultimately, I'm trying to put paper on the table, bread on the table, paper in my pocket. I'm only trying to make this fight happen, really. I think I do keep myself professional, but people sometimes forget that this fight wouldn't have happened without the things I've said. Not said anything really bad, but without me calling her out and having a little joke and a laugh, um, this we wouldn't be here. And let's be honest, she's saying that I'm lucky to be fighting her. It's absolutely ridiculous. She's 5-3. She's not a world champion who is miles above my levels. Like, she's just not, and she needs to be realistic about that. I'm 4-0. I'm the prospect. In at best, she may even, and this is probably a bit harsh, but I'll say it, is a good journeywoman. Really, that's kind of the route she's going down. Especially if I beat her, when I beat her, she'll be 5-4. What are we? How can you? What are you going to say afterwards? I've made this fight happen, and I've done what boxing is, and boxing's entertainment, right? And she should thank me a tiny bit because she's got a shitload of followers, probably a shitload of attention brought to her social media because I know I have, and I'm just putting on a show. That's it. I'm not being disrespectful. Um, we're having a laugh, and sometimes if you can't take yourself, if you take yourself too seriously, then boxing's probably the wrong place for you to be. You know, like, it's just life, right? But yeah, it's all about being professional. But at the same time, it is about selling yourself and selling tickets, and because we are small hall, that's how you get to the big shows one day, right? And being entertaining and being a bit funny as well goes a long way. Rather than it be, I'm not a clout chaser, I'm this, I don't duck anyone. Like, I'll stick your face on Megamind and not care. That's just me. Like, it's just a joke, you
I
know.
actually thought that was real, but yeah, it did look very accurate.
Thanks.
So, so then again, God willing, it's for a title, and I hope it is. Then again, your co-main event at the infamous, the famous York Hall. How'd that feel?
Yeah, amazing. It's going to be interesting being on a little bit later. Hopefully,
Mm.
my first ever 10-round fight. Um, I am working harder than I have ever worked. I'm getting some really good quality sparring in. I'm away traveling next week for a few days across country to get some good sparring in. And we'll be doing that, 3, 4 times. How long have we got? We're going into like 5 weeks next week. So yeah, if I can get a few of those good solid rounds in with some good solid girls from around the country, then yeah, that would be great. I will be the best version of myself stepping in that ring April the 25th, and I hope she is because she's really going to need it.
And can we see a knockout? And will we get a knockout?
Yeah, I think so. I would really like that to happen. It would be an amazing moment for me. Pinnacle of my career so far, let's put it that way. And obviously, with all the beef, I'm sure there'll be a little bit more beef coming as well. It would just finish off a nice night. Obviously, I am a clinical boxer and want to box nicely. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll be ready to do 10 rounds. But yeah, obviously it would be a nice little finishing touch, wouldn't it? Just to see her face on the floor. But
Other than that, as a female boxer, I don't know if you've sparred it, but I take it you must have. Would you prefer 10-2s or 12-3s for the women's game, or do you think it's a complete different level?
I mean, like 12-3s works, right? For it should all be equal. However, women's boxing isn't at that level yet. If it
Mm.
ever reaches there, that's what we're trying to work towards, right? Is getting it to the same level as men, along with other, female sports and male sports. Do I think 10-2s are more entertaining? Do I think we throw more punches? Um, yeah. However, 3-minute rounds would probably increase knockouts. Would delve into parts of you that you've never been to before. So yeah, obviously you're going to get tired and open yourself up. If you get tired and you're not prepared for a fight. So would that make it more entertaining? Who really knows? Something for the future to definitely look into. We are moving that way to 3 minute rounds. Do I think I box better with 3 minute rounds? Yeah. Am I more than happy to stay on 2 minute rounds? As long as it's entertaining, I don't really care.
Love that. And so, little quick digression, or little, we're gonna delve off of boxing for a few minutes, and then we'll end off with it again. So, Lilyella Craw-Seaman, I want to talk to you about you. So if I don't know, I made that so weird. I want to talk to you about if I was to meet you in a pub, if I was to meet you at a football game, if I was to meet you at the road, take boxing away. And I know that's hard for a lot of professional boxers because that's all their life is. Describe yourself as a person, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
What a question. What am I like as a person? A little bit ADHD. I have a massive heart. I care for my family, the people around me. I work really hard at work. I work really hard in the gym, which is just a big part of my life, right? It's hard not to mention it. Um, how would I describe myself? I care. I care a lot about people. I go out my way. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I just try and be a good person every day, and I try and better myself every day in whatever way that can possibly be. 1% better, right, every day. That's what we aim for.
You can have a speed run through these, or you can take your time. What's your favorite music song or artists of all time? What's your favorite film, and what's your favorite TV series?
Wow, my favorite music. Gosh, I've been listening to some new music recently. Um, I mean, I went and seen Dave last weekend, so he's definitely up there. I like a bit. I like a bit of everything: rap, pop. I went and seen Porter the week before. A little bit of rave, techno, rock, even now. Just a bit of everything. But I do like Dave. I like things that are quite emotional. That could be rap. It could be, pop music. But yeah, we'll stick with Dave on that one. My favorite film. I've got three. They're quite old films. Forrest Gump, Pretty Woman, and Indecent Proposal. They're all a bit cringy, really, when you think about it. But they're great films. I love them. I really do love them. I like a bit of a rom-com. I absolutely hate horrors. I get scared. I get nightmares. So, uh, and what was the last one? Favorite TV series? Gosh, I love Bridgerton at the minute. I'm watching Bridgerton. Don't know if you've seen it, but it's amazing. It's very, very girl focused. But I know a lot of guys that are watching it. Breaking Bad's great as well. I liked Gossip Girl, which is really cheesy, but it's good. It was me growing up. Um, yeah, at the minute Bridgerton anyway. That's what I'm watching.
I want to ask you, if you could have any opponent, past or present, in any weight class, who would you fight, and what would be your favorite arena to set out?
Wow. I don't know whether I want to go with somebody that I might fight or somebody that I probably won't fight. I might now I'm at lightweight, super lightweight. I'm going to go with Katie Taylor.
Hmm.
I think that would be amazing. She is, just to be able to say I've done it, right? She made women's boxing what it is today. Hopefully, us, the rest, like all of us, can make it even bigger. And I'm sure she can look back on it, and we can look back on it when we're older and say we know we were the generational change in female boxing. Where I guess for that fight probably have to be Wembley or Tottenham. It's too big, isn't it, really, to fight Kate Taylor at somewhere like that? Um, Somewhere not like that, sorry. But for me, Carrow Road would be the ideal situation to fight for a world title. If it was anybody else, but Katie Taylor will take Wembley or Tottenham.
And like I said, I could have a 3 hour podcast with you. We could talk about football, life, everything in general. To round up, penultimate question just before I let you go. What is your one motivational message to the world for fans to block out the outside noise, block out the haters, block out the negativity, and follow and pursue their dreams?
I always say never give up. You're hard to beat if you don't give up. There's many times, and I'm sure in everybody's life, they've probably looked at themselves in the mirror and thought, I don't want to do this anymore, or I can't do this. But if you just keep going, you're really hard to beat, whatever walk of life that you're going through, because life is difficult, life is hard, and if you wake up every single day and try and be the best version of yourself, then yeah, you'll be going in the right direction anyway.
Love to hear that. And we don't know as of yet, but obviously, like you said, 95% chance, April 25th at York Hall in Bethnal Green, East London, historic, the home of British boxing. Lilyella Craw-Seaman versus Zoe, as you're going to call her. What can fans expect, and how do you turn hulky into sulky?
It's a great one, isn't it? What can you expect? I reckon I'm just going to bop her in the head.
Mm.
Just give her one of them ones. No, just clinical boxing until I chin her with a big right hand and her face hits the canvas. Hopefully that's how it goes. I think I'll be too much for her. I think I'll be too big for her. I think I'll tire her out. I reckon she's going to try and make her look scruffy. I reckon as soon as she gets in there after my big jab hits her in the face, she's going to soon realise that this is not going to go the way that she wants it to. And I would love it to end with her on the canvas, as much as that's not always the nicest thing to say. That is what I want.
And what's your last message to your fans, everyone that's going to tune in on the live stream, and the hundreds that you're going to get down for this one?
Yeah, thanks everyone. I'll see you all there. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good 6 weeks, hopefully a little bit of entertainment on social media between us both between now and then. Buy your tickets, especially if you're one of her fans. Get down there. It's going to be a good night. And I'll make sure it's worth it. Don't you worry. Get the vodkas in at the bar and enjoy yourselves. And yeah, I'll make it worth it. Don't you worry. But yeah, thank you so much, and thanks to all my sponsors as well, and everybody that does come down. It means a lot, really. It's all you can really ask for is people supporting your career, and yeah, we'll make a good night of it.
God bless. Thanks so much, Lilyella, and take care. And the new, God willing, on the 25th, and a big knockout.
Thank you.